Hello, good morning, and welcome to the morning news here on Newday on TV3. My name is Beatrice Edu. Coming up in the next few minutes. Chief Justice to commence the determination of a prima facie case or otherwise in petitions filed against the Electoral Commissioner, her deputies, and the Special Prosecutor. Also coming up on the program, some members from the Kusong and Mampusi ethnic groups resolved to accept outcome from the Otumfuo-led Boko conflict mediation. And much later on the program, Bank of Ghana governor set to announce new capital requirement for non-interest banking and finance sector as regulatory guideline nears completion. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Now, Chief Justice Paul Bafoboni is set to determine whether or not there is a prima facie case against Special Prosecutor Kisie Jabing, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, and her two deputies, after the president forwarded petitions for their removal to him. President Mahama, in accordance with Article 146 of the Constitution, forwarded the petitions to the Chief Justice for examination. The Office of the President received a total of 10 petitions. Sources tell TV3 that 7 of the petitions were filed by private citizens seeking the removal of the Electoral Commission chair and her deputies. The remaining 3 petitions seek the removal of Special Prosecutor Kisie Jabing, alleging various misconduct by the heads of the 2 institutions. Now, some members from the Kusong and Mampusi ethnic groups have resolved to accept the outcome from the Otumfuo-led Boko conflict mediation. However, tension erupted just at the dying minutes of the final day of mediation, leading to a swift police and military intervention. William Evans Inkum has filed the following report for us.
Security was heightened at the Mensha Palace hours before the arrival of the 2 ethnic groups. The Kusau delegation arrived at 11:30 a.m., 30 minutes before the arrival of the Mampusi delegation. Outside the walls of the Mensha Palace, supporters of both ethnic groups gather in anticipation. Peace is the target, and both appear committed to ending the years of conflict. But a calm situation almost turned sour when a member of one of the ethnic groups was hit by a motorbike. A swift military and police intervention restored calm. This is the Kusau just behind me. And from here, it's just a walking distance. Not even up to 20 steps. Then you also get to the Mampusi. The only thing that separates them is this particular narrow road. And that is a very small gap. Now, to them, this has been the situation for many years. And today, they are expecting one thing to happen: a perpetual peace. Peace that will renew that restoration of the brotherly love that once existed between them. and they believe that whichever way it goes, they are ready to accept it. William Evans Inkom, TV3 News, Menchia Palace, Kumasi.
Meanwhile, the president of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Nagrat Angel Kabonu, is calling for an urgent review of the country's education system to prevent what it describes as a looming collapse. My colleague Daniel Opoko has more in the following report.
The president of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Nagrat Angel Kabonu, says this year's WASI performance highlights the need for a comprehensive review of the country's education system.
The system we are running, is it beneficial to our children? Is it aiding proper teaching and learning? Are we producing students who understand what they have studied to become worthwhile citizens of our society? Education should be reviewed regularly. Education is like life. You review life so as to enhance your wherewithal for the betterment of tomorrow.
He urged politicians to stay away from the day-to-day management of education and allow professionals to take charge.
Please, politicians should hands off education and allow professionals to run education in this country. The sole financiers of education is the taxpayer. The politicians are just the conduit through which the money passes.
Responding to the concerns, Press Secretary to the Minister of Education, Hashimin Mohammed, assured the public that the government is committed to addressing the situation.
Reverting the curriculum to the normal WAEC curriculum system, where we can have students taking the exams at the same time other West African countries are taking the exams. So all these are enforcement mechanisms we are putting in place to ensure that the results that our students, our learners are producing are credible enough to compete globally.
Hashimin Mohammed revealed that the Ministry of Education will soon roll out a new strategy aimed at tackling the rising failure rates.
We want to end the double track by 2027, and we have initiated measures to end it. Already about 100 double track schools have been reverted into single track. And going forward in 2026, we want to improve infrastructure across board and then also improve the training of teachers.
Still on education, the West African Examination Council, WAEC, is probing a sharp drop in this year's WASI results, with over half of candidates failing core mathematics and a third recording F9 in social studies. While groups disagree on what caused the decline, the Ghana Education Service insists the outcome reflects the students' true performance. Grace Ahamwajiman has more in this report.
220,008 candidates failed core mathematics, making it the weakest performance recorded in 7 years. Head of Communications at the West Africa Examinations Council, WAEC, John Kapi, says while the council is worried about the turnout, they suspect a lack of understanding of the questions resulted in the low performance.
In a casual conversation with my people in charge of social studies, I gathered that there was a little twist, if you want, of the question. Instead of the rote learning that we are used to, he asked them to apply the knowledge that they had in the various subjects. So, I mean, in that particular subject, the various topics. So it's not as if they drifted off the syllabus.
Let's bring you some more here on the Morning News on Newday. Government is engaged in ongoing discussions with drone delivery service Zipline regarding the future of its critical medical supply contract. Health Minister Kwabena Minta-Akando says despite public scrutiny and parliamentary pressure, a decision on whether to terminate the partnership has not yet been reached.
A contract was signed in 2018. It took effect in 2019. And as part of the contract, there were clauses known as take or pay clauses in the agreement. And the contract was sole sourced. Now, for every month, Ghana government was and is supposed to pay $88,000 per center per month. $88,000 per center per month. So if you do the computation, we are paying more than, because we have 6 centers, so we are paying a little over $500,000 every month for the services of the drones. What is more interesting, and I think everybody needs to know, is the fact that in the beginning of this contract, the idea was that we were not going to use government of Ghana money to pay, but upon review of the activities, what we have realized is that the hard-to-reach areas constitute only 12% of the activities, 12%, 1-2. And emergency services is 4% of the activities. And it will interest you to know some of the items they fly. Items like condom, blood donor cards, not blood donor cards, mosquito nets, food and nutrition items, adhesive tapes, syringes and needles, education materials, among other things, textbooks, exercise books, uniforms, and a lot more. So these are some of the items they have been flying. And so when we came to office, we think that there must be value for money. And therefore, we are engaging them. So if you hear that we are not engaging Zipline, it's not true. Whether or not to cancel Zipline, we have not gotten to that point yet. We are still engaging them. When we get there, you will hear what decision we will take.
We'll know what decision to take. That was the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando. Some more here on the morning news. And as part of efforts to reduce unemployment, the Millennium Development Authority is collaborating with other agencies to establish innovation hubs in some tertiary institutions across the country. Acting CEO of MEDA, Alex Mould, says these hubs, among others, will serve as centers to discuss and create jobs in line with the government's 24-hour economy policy.
Government seeks to establish each of these innovation hubs on every tertiary campus to make the transition from university to the job market seamless.
The idea here is, how do we ensure that we can help reduce the unemployment, especially with our youth? So we're working with the universities to see how we can set up innovation hubs. We're currently working one with University of Ghana under the Ministry of Communications in Legon. And the idea there is to have the infrastructure in place and bring in organizations that can train our youth to be able to do work that they will be getting from institutions outside the country.
MEDA, originally established to implement the US-funded MCC Compact, has taken on an expanded role as a national delivery agency for agricultural transformation efforts under the 24-hour economy.
Working with the 24-hour economy, the current thing we're working on is the Volta Lake Corridor Transportation Program, where we're going to improve how goods are transported using the Volta Lake and reducing the toll on our roads and also the expense. It's far cheaper using waterway than rail and far cheaper than roads. Bringing primary irrigation to these enclaves. And we're talking about 50,000 acre type enclaves, not small farms. Working with the outgrowers in that area as well, bringing anchor farmers, private sector to execute these.
Now, the Bank of Ghana is set to announce a new capital requirement for framework for non-interest banking and finance, commonly known as Islamic banking. The disclosure was made by an advisor to the Central Bank, Professor John Gache, at the 2025 Continuous Professional Development and Induction Seminar organized by the Association of Certified Chartered Economists in Accra.
Non-interest banking and finance, NIBF, operates on Sharia principles that prohibit the charging of interest. Instead, it focuses on profit sharing asset-backed financing, and ethical investments. The model has been expanding globally, with Ghana positioning itself to fully regulate and deepen its participation in this alternative financial system. Speaking on the topic, the viability of non-interest banking in capitalist economy, the advisor to the Bank of Ghana revealed that the regulatory framework is nearing completion and will be announced by the governor soon.
We expect some windows to be established. We also expect some fully fledged non-interest bank to be established. I'm aware some conventional banks are upbeat about establishing a window, and that will definitely happen.
The event also explored pressing global economic concerns. Senior research lead and financial consultant Dr. Edmond Nkrumah warned that escalating global trade wars are beginning to distort investment flows, disrupt employment, and slow overall economic growth.
Africa is just gaining about 0.04% of GDP. And why are we losing what? A lot, because Africa is not well connected with the international world. So Ghana, which is just like a $250 billion economy, definitely will shrink when there is, there's this form of trade wars.
Technology and data innovation also took center stage. Assistant Registrar at the Sunyani Technical University, Philemon Jaba, urged economists to embrace artificial intelligence tools or risk being overtaken by them.
The danger is when you don't use AI. That is where somebody who knows AI will take your job. Because now certification only tick the box. What is a differentiator is AI.
Now, the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations is urging the government to fast-track the passage of the revised Disability Act. To ensure stronger accountability, the Federation is also calling for the National Council on Persons with Disability to be elevated to the status of an authority.
The Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations says since the Disability Act, Act 715, was passed in June 2006, its implementation has been slow. The Federation raised concerns about missing provisions in the current Act, including measures for disaster management. According to the Federation, gaps in the current law continue to hinder access to education, employment, healthcare, transport, and justice for persons with disabilities.
We continue to face inequalities. We want a strengthened Disability Act that will modernize Ghana legal framework, ensure clearer institutional responsibilities. We stand ready to partner with government, parliament, and all stakeholders to ensure that the revised act is passed and effectively implemented. And what we are saying is that the time to act is now. Ghana must not delay any further.
The Federation is further appealing for the National Council on Persons with Disability to be upgraded from a council to an authority to strengthen its mandate.
We are also calling for the elevation of the National Council on Persons with Disability, to raise it from the current council status to an authority. We believe that when it is able to secure authority status, it will have its own budget. As it is now, the council's budget is a component of the ministry's budget, and we are having a lot of difficulties with that.
The former president of the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations, Yao Ofori Deborah, lauded the government for implementing free tertiary education for persons with disabilities.
I assure you that all the tertiary institution authorities have been brought into the picture. They have been authorized to operationalize that commitment from government. I believe from this academic year, they are going to enjoy it.
And that was a News Desk report. Thank you so much for joining us on the Morning News here on Newday on TV3. My name is Beatrice Edu. Stay with us on Newday.
A way that it talks about what was put in place, the stringent invigilating atmosphere, and then also maybe a policy of the Ghana Education Service to make sure that they go according to their guidelines and be strict to ensure that they get the best out of students. And that hereafter, irrespective of the outcome that has been recorded, the GES would ensure that students were up to scratch or were up to the level, up to the optimum that is expected of a country like Ghana. But I thought that statement in itself was going to rub off negatively for parents.
But
I
would agree.
Because if you're a parent and let's say you have your child or your ward in first year, second year, or even took place in this examination, you have the agency that implements policy and supervises it or its implementation in itself, saying that is the true status of pupils or the student who wrote the examination, then that's problematic. So it means that the GES, a year before and the years past has been failing. And so I think that, I won't say it's a PR gaffe, but whatever maybe decision that went into the statement was a very wrong statement.
I mean, I would agree with you just to some extent, because what I see is a multiplicity of factors.
Okay.
I mean, that should include the teachers, the quality of teachers that we have, really what resources are available for the teachers, of course, the students and the pupils as well, and the bits about parents and really the general environment and really what was put in place before. But again, I also see a subtle political response, because yesterday...
From the GES?
From the GES.
Well, if you saw that, it's also unfortunate. It shouldn't be coming from the GES.
That's my interpretation, a subtle one, because yesterday when we spoke, I remember one of the things I expressed, which was a concern, was that we may end up politicizing this, that during a certain administration, this is what we saw, and now this is what we are saying. But
okay, so outwardly, when you read the first time, that's what you got.
That's just my candid.
I also got varied responses as well. So that aspect about the training of the teachers, that's from the colleges of education up to the standards that we have, was also espoused by Dr. Tutu Boahing yesterday. And then yesterday, I also got Sefam, Sefam Lord Benson, also calling me, and then emphasizing that from 2018, we have a new academic curriculum that has been implemented, or is being implemented. And the teaching modes for the curriculum that we have is supposed to be more, I think, we're too standardized based. So it's more supposed to be practical. And so the questions were relating to how practical the question should be, even though the students who wrote the examination, as well as those who will be writing next year, did not go through that sort of standardized based learning or whatever it is. So the WAEC PRO then confirmed that the students could not interpret the wordings of the questions.
But understanding the question is part of the exams.
Particularly mention a question in mathematics about circle or something like that, which all through majority of the students just couldn't relate to, and so did not answer the questions well. So Sefam then related it to how the students were being taught. That is the teaching modes or means of instruction. And you know, that again brought to mind the reason why parents over the last couple of years made that decision consciously. Some able to afford, some not able to afford, when it comes to secondary schooling, to send their children to private schools instead of the preferred government schools that everybody clamored for.
Because really, understanding the question is part of the exams. And so, well, I don't know how it's like now, but I think that there should be continuous teacher training. Teachers should be able to upgrade themselves and continue to improve themselves, even stand much, much higher ahead of the students, so that they're able to give them that wide range, you know, understanding of things.
The teachers are already working under very
and that's really not to undermine the efforts, because I know there are a lot of efforts that they are putting in place. Even yesterday, one of the news items we brought I think it was Tanko or one of the teacher representatives saying that it is unacceptable for a teacher to retire and they cannot even boast of a 2-bedroom apartment, for instance.
Well, journalists do well.
Yes, I mean...
It's only teachers we're talking about, journalists.
Yes, but I think that the circumstances also are quite difficult, but irrespective, there should be a balance in terms of what we're giving the students.
Well, true. So we'll take you through our line now. I think that should be our question of the day. I mean, what people and our audiences think about the result and the reaction thereof yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we need to wait for the chief examiner's report from the West African Examination Council. Yeah. And so we'll do that for our question of the day for the This Morning segment. And then for big issues, we're going to have lawyer Hamza Suhiyeni right here in the studio, and then Dr. Ramsey Inusa, Director, Political Research, United Party, Dr. Josiah Koba, a former principal lecturer as well as a legal practitioner as well. And so we're going to look at some vexed matters over the last 24 hours gaining prominence, and it's about the petition, of course, to remove the special prosecutor as well as the head of the Electoral Commission and her deputies and some others as well. And then, of course, we'll try and wrap it up with the West African Examination Council latest WASSCE results for
But
Ghana.
honestly, to fail social studies is a no-no.
It's a no-no.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a subject that literally you could
when
go
you close
to sleep,
your eye.
Yes, and pass. I don't know how
I'm not too
looking
sure
like
the
now.
social studies you did is the same social studies.
Yes, that's why I'm putting that caveat.
I mean, the
on.
content may be the same, but maybe the way they've been structured and the way they're supposed to be examined is supposed to. I'm sure it's different.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
So
for example, if you say
enumerate or discuss, or I mean, understand. I would say
if
that.
They say discuss and then you go and state list. You have problems.
Yeah. I mean,
all right. So we have this morning segment. Just in case you're one of those parents or you are concerned about, we're told the percentage failures or passing following the WASSCE result release, you can also call us. But generally, we're asking the question what you make of all that has happened since the release of that result by the West African Examination Council for WASSCE.
So you tell us, the numbers will be displayed on your screen very shortly. Tell us what you think of the latest results from the WASSCE and really whether or not you agree with the GAS that that's actually the true reflection of the students' performance, or you also think that there are different in a number of factors which contributed to the results that we've seen. Let's go to Collins, who joins us on the phone. Good morning to you, Collins. Thank you so much for joining us on this morning segment on Newday. Where you're calling us from and what's on your mind?
Yeah, Beatrice and Roland, as you said, my name is Collins, calling from Amma, Boni, in the Ganof Municipal. Let me take this quick opportunity to greet my only one boss, the Chief Executive Officer of TEMA, ESC Shipyard, Itakosi Mensah, the finance man and chief of staff. Well, it's amazing. We are in this country. This is last 8 years, we heard it and saw it clear that former President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia giving a huge amount of support to the students today. Today, President Mahama and his MDC has changed that diagonal. So today, all the teachers and the communities are strict on the students. So the previous Kululu or has been seen. So I will approach the teachers that they are in good channel. Because look, you can't buy a question to jump into university or whereabouts. Asking you a question, then you will be now remember in the olden days. That government, Akufo-Addo and his communities, look, this country and it's enough. Concluding, I will applaud those who petition the lecture commission and the OSP. Look, they should do it as it is. Because we are in this country and we see last year by this time, Jane Mesa and his 2 deputies, see what they did. Every in day out, if they catch them, they handle Omanibuama made his so rest in perfect peace. Including Tanko and Nadi. Oh, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. But if you didn't catch them, then it's a deliberate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Collins, for calling in and for sharing your thoughts with us.
He says why it's a deliberate. Okay. All right, so the lines are still open. What do you make of the uproar that has greeted the WASSCE result as well?
Yeah.
If you want to comment on the petition to remove the special prosecutor as well as the EC boss and her deputies, you can also do so. But we have a couple of comments already coming through. And we have another caller.
Yes, Master Planner is joining us on the phone as well. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much
Policy
for joining
analyst.
us.
Yes. Good morning, my dear.
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. How are you too?
I'm also fine. Papa,
Charlie.
Lafia.
Lafia, lo. Yegida.
Lafia, lo.
Yeah, Lafia, lo.
Let me say a special good morning to you and then your production team. And then greet former President Nana Donko Akufo, the former Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, and then urge all MPP delegates to vote for Dr. Bawumia number 3 on the ballot paper. Honorable Case Nana Lloyd and all MPP executives. Roland, the caller that just dropped and I entered, he made an allegation that President Nanado and Dr. Bawumia used huge sums of money to go and buy a pop. You should have corrected him because it's a palpable lie. President Nanado and Dr. Bawumia never bought any pop for anyone in this country. When we were in SHS, we used to use our pocket money to go and buy past questions and study the trend on how they set questions. You look, as you were discussing, if they say discuss, you don't have to go and list. So if you buy a past question, you solve it together with your teacher to know how to answer questions. There are some questions, they repeat them maybe every 2 years or every 3 years. If you look at the trend, you'll be able to predict some questions. Then you put a little much effort there so that you can pass your exams easily. But NDC in opposition preach to Ghanaians that President Nanado is buying a pop for the students. When President Nanado introduced double track system, we were accusing them that they brought traffic lights in our education system. That was the work of the NDC in opposition. Today, you've won power. Our children failed massively, woefully, sadly, and breaking heart, and you're telling us that we shouldn't politicize. But when you were in opposition, that was the tools you used to win power. Today, teachers' allowances, continuous development allowances, you couldn't pay them, and you expect the teachers to go and teach happily. Teachers, you promise teachers to come, you are going to build teacher Dabre, what? Even teacher Kukobuo, you couldn't build. How many months in office now? When you want to speak, they say, the children, they started doing Nanado. So that is what. When you inherited the economy and the economy is thriving well, you want to take credit for it. But you inherited students and the students failed. You want to push it to the previous government. Last 3 weeks, what was the topic of discussion in our educational sector? We were discussing haircuts. Minister of Education was busily discussing how to shave your hair, how to cut your hair. Last week, just this last week, we were discussing religious matters in our SHS. Instead of discussing the academic performance, how to make sure that our children will pass and pass their exams. That is not the priority of the ministry. Look at the allocation they allocated to the Ministry of Education. Very, very small, but the minister cannot talk. Those are the matters we should be tackling and stop this lies that President Nanado bought above. President Nanado never did that. We have to, as government, as parents, and as students, change our mind. I always ask myself this question. So is that the educational review President Mohammed said is coming to do? That is the result of the review of free SHS. Is that the review of free SHS is what we are seeing today? So I'm begging the NDC, if you want to politicize this issue, we will help you do the politics. But if you want to speak to the matter, we also speak to the matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Master Planner Junior.
For calling in and sharing your thoughts with us as well. Yes.
So we have a couple of messages coming through, but you can still call. Let's know your thoughts on the WASSCE results. And this one is coming from Sherry Giovanni. Says, I'm astonished at the high rate of failures this year. Teacher training has nothing to do with this, in my opinion. It's a falsehood to say former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gave support to students. Government should quickly put measures in place to tackle this rate of failure. And says good morning to Miss Yvonne. And more messages coming through. Okay, so. Okay.
Another caller joins us on the phone now. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Your name, where you're calling us from?
Good morning, good morning to you. My name is Laurentia. Please, I want to comment on the WASSCE results that our children are showing.
Please go ahead.
Please, the most important for we Ghanaians is that we will think about our children in the SHS, the education and the academic level. When we are talking about the Wesley girls, about the marathon that they put on, how will the parent, a daughter will come out from the WASSCE with a good grade? That is very, very happy for a parent, for a daughter to be well academically excellent. I will be very happy that you will get admission to university, that you will be a person in life. But we are thinking about Madafi and all those things. That is not necessary. Ghanaians, we have to rise up and think about our education. Every time I've been watching Johnny is complaining about education and health sector that cannot be political. And it's very, very important for we Ghanaians. Our children are failing in the SHS, and it's very important for parents to think about it. That is very necessary. Please, I'm pleading with Ghanaians. Let us all be together to think about the education, help in one way or the other, because education is the key for our children today. Please, Ghanaians, let us all hold on together for our education. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All hands on deck, he says. Thank you very much for calling in and for sharing your thoughts with us.
Okay, and so we have more comments coming through. So this one is coming from Akasokri Joseph. Good morning to you, Akasokri Joseph, and has this message. Says the government should review the EC petition with immediate effect. Well, it's not the role of government to do that. So, yeah, it's a Chief Justice. It's been done by the President, who is a recipient. And, okay, we have a caller.
Yeah, we need to go to Boko in the Upper East region. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us your name.
I'm a Tiruga Shamsu.
Hi, Samson.
Yeah.
You're calling us from Boko?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach in the senior high school.
Lovely. Please tell us. What's on your mind?
Yeah, what is on my mind? Anyway, I don't want to talk, but the way people are doing politics with our education system, it is hurting us much. We talk about buying of past questions during the previous MPP regime. We were not having a single textbook to teach the students. So why do you go and buy past questions to come in? So will the teacher go inside the classroom with a scheme of work on past questions to go and teach? No. And now, the problem is that the BECE, when students fail, they don't talk about it. And the same students will go to the senior high school and you expect the teacher to do magic within those 3 years for the student to pass. And when the student then fails at the senior high school, it becomes a topic. for discussion. Why? Are we saying that if a patient goes to the hospital with a sickness and goes back home and the sickness or the problem is not solved, it will become a topic for discussion? We hold the nurses accountable. It won't even come out. So if the student come to the senior high school with that bad results, definitely the teacher will do his or her best, but it cannot be, the teacher cannot perform magic for the student to pass. So both NDC and PP, they should do what is right so that teachers will get the materials to teach. Currently, those who are in year 2, they have been forcing us to go for professional, continuous professional development, what. They don't have a single textbook. The new curriculum, they came year 1, finished year 2. There is not a single textbook to teach the students. So what are we doing to ourselves? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samson, for calling us from Boko in the Upper East region and for sharing your thoughts indeed as a teacher who is facing the realities on the ground, really.
Well, so we have this one, and Kwame Boateng Eje says that, look, the reason why we have failures are very simple. The Minister of Education went out to say that teachers should not assist students, and that's why we are where we are. I think the Ministry of Education needs to take this seriously. Under his supervision, he has failed, and so he needs to better the result the next time. Mejina Kwesi, good morning. You haven't been able to get through this morning. He says examination failure is not caused by one thing. It's a result of several interconnected factors. Many students enter the exam hall already disadvantaged due to late preparation, passive study habits, or weak foundational knowledge. Others also struggle mentally, anxiety, low motivation, and poor sleep, and can affect performance just as much as academic gaps.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think we have Jerome on the phone with us. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us where you're calling us from. Hi, Jerome. Can you hear us? Okay, it looks like we've lost him. But please, keep trying, and hopefully you're able to get through to us so you can share your views with us. Roland, I guess that's still some messages for us.
I have this one from Engineer Dennis Kojoyabwa, who says, I'm watching you this morning. Good morning to all of you. And I love the subject and the topic you're talking about. But that said, please say happy birthday to Martha Owusu Fodjo and Mary Owusu Fodjo. Happy birthday to you, twins, I'm told.
Oh, lovely. Okay, we have Idriso on the line. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for calling in. Tell us where you're calling us from and what's on your mind.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning,
my name is Idris, calling from Upper West region. Wow.
How is Wa today?
We thank God. Why is very cold.
Great.
Let me say good morning to the NPC Chairman of the Nazis Right, and also good morning to the local people at Upper West region. Well, I answer your G24 Lana. The issue of KCR Garden, that is where I am interested. Roland, and because I want to assure you people that if they come from the office of special prosecutor, it shows that these people are involved in corruption. The reason why I'm saying is that without the CI Guardian, there are some state institutions that can work on corruption issues. Is that not it? They can pass in and do what they're supposed to do. You see, NDC campaign on corruption issues against the NPC people. And we agree with them and with their evidence. We were expecting them that by this time around, people will be lined up in high court or Supreme Court and lower courts that they should be going to be prosecuted. We are not doing anything. The only thing that we have been hearing that this person has been taken, but we are not seeing the result. The whole country is much interested about what NDC does. This person is a criminal, this person is a criminal. Let me give you a clear example. The CEO of YE, Mr. Basintali, on behalf of
Hamid Tume, especially is AP, telling the good people of this country that Hamid Tume is a criminal. When the NDC come into power, have you seen anything about Hamid Tume again? They have not seen any comment about them. So they told me that NDC were lying to the people of this country. If they want us to believe on them, they should start prosecuting them. It's not easy. Look at the amount of money that you people were telling us that the apprentices of NPP is stolen. You hear one caller saying that there were no textbooks. As we are speaking, that there is no textbook at the basic and the junior level. If they are able to take some of the money from those people, they can use it to buy the textbooks. They can use it to buy textbooks. Now let me go back to the West Africa Integration Report. The issue is that this is not anything we have to be doing politics about it. My sister, how can a student go to a school 1.5 years and you expect him to pass an exam? Do the calculation. They will go 2 months, they will be in house for 2 months. They will go 2 months, they will be in house for 2 months. So if you put all of them together, it will be 1.5 years. Some people used to go 3 years, but they were not able to pass some of the questions. So it is clear. What we are seeing from the education reform, that is the truth. But the question is that, how are we going to fix the problem? This is what we're supposed to be asking. NPP is not in power, NDC is in power. And NDC is not in power to send the good people of NDC that are there for Ghanaians. Mr. Education, Harun is there to serve Ghanaians. We should be bringing out solutions that to solve this problem. But now, if you go and meet some of these people out that are facing the wealthy, my sister, how to even complete a sentence by himself? He can do it. He can, because they were just pushing them to go through. But you see the bad thing too, you see a parent to remove his child from 0.1% to go right wealthy. That is another problem that causes us where we are today. So we have to work on all these issues and let us talk about politics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Idrisu, for calling us from Wa in the Upper West region. His line wasn't so clear. I was struggling to hear some of the things he was saying. But
okay. We have a teacher.
Yes, we have a teacher on standby. Hi, good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us where you're calling us from and really what's on your mind. Yes, sir, we can hear you. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. My name is Swale Abraham. I'm calling you from Yendi.
Yes, sir. And I understand you're a teacher.
Yes, I am.
Please, share with us your thoughts.
Yes. The main problem is the primary school. Unless we strengthen our primary school, this problem will never be solved. Because I am teaching in junior high school. Some of the students from the primary school, they may, sometimes when you admit the form ones, even common ABCD. Sometimes some of them, ABCD, the alphabet, the children cannot even write the alphabet correctly. The children cannot mention the alphabet correctly. So how are you going to do? And I bet you, even some of the senior high school, when you go, common things that they should know before they come to senior high, they don't know it. So what can you do? So I need to go back and strengthen our primary school. The problem is the primary school. Once the child has a good foundation at the primary school, then the rest is easy for the child to pass the exams. So that is my take.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling us from Yendi. Roland, I'm sure you heard what he said, that the problem is the primary school. And yet we had a teacher calling us from a senior high school. He teaches senior high school, who said that the problem was JHS, as in the junior high school. It means that we have problems across all the levels.
The foundation of the schools.
Yes. Wow. Well, whilst you try to call in again, there's a world-class university right here in Ghana, Rosebank International University, a strong South African university and a branch of the ADV Tech Group, Africa's largest private education provider with 146 schools across 5 African countries and over 100,000 learners, and partly owned by the World Bank through the IFC. Rosebank International University is fully accredited by the South African Qualifications Authority, the British Accreditation Council, GTEC in Ghana, City Guilds UK and Capsicum Canary Studio. At Rosebank International University, we offer a Doctor of Business Administration, MBA, Master of Science and Master of Philosophy in Digital Marketing, Bachelor of Supply Chain Management, targeting professionals in freight forwarding, customs, and many more. We offer hospitality and culinary art as well, available at diploma, undergraduate, and postgraduate levels. Our ICT has BSc Information Technology in Business Systems and IT Computer Application Development, all carefully designed to equip you with the skills and qualifications needed for a successful global career. Our mission is simple: inspiring excellence. Admissions are now open for January 2026. Visit our modern campus at Airport Commercial or Pebia House, Accra, or apply online at www.riuc.edu.gh. Rosebank International University, building global citizens. And let's go to Francis, who joins us on the phone. Hi, Francis. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on this morning's segment on New Day.
Good morning, Beatrice and Roland. In Upper West, you say Ansuma, so you say ACA.
Ebu?
To ACA.
ACA, okay. Yes, thank you for joining
Roland,
us.
Yes, Roland, with this issue, I would say that it's not from the senior high school level. I will second the previous speaker that spoke. Now, it's the whole genesis of this issue is from the basic level. You can imagine someone not getting the required grades, but the person is pushed to the senior high. Imagine you getting a degree 35 or 34, and you are pushed to the senior high to compete with people that have gotten, let's say, 6 or 10 or 12 or 15. It will not help. Definitely, you will come out with bad results. The previous government, I don't like politicizing our education system, but it is obvious. Let's just be realistic. Let's just hit the nail on the head. The previous government did not contribute significantly to our education system.
Why do you say that?
Happened. Teachers were crying. Teachers were crying that they need books. You introduce a new curriculum over 2 years or 3 years, you were not getting books. How do you expect the teachers to deliver for the students to perform? Another issue deals with their grading system. For the DEC, I know that their grading system is not helping the students at all. You imagine students completing their DEC exams with high hopes and inspirations, only to be cut short. You see some of them cry because they know very well that they have kept their best and they have done their best, only to be disappointed because of their grading system. Now we are hearing that they have one grading system. Even if you get 90, the likelihood of you getting 2 is high. That you have to get 100 over 100, which is 100 or 90 before you can get 1 in the BEC level. So 80 and above, then they will start grading. Meanwhile, first, we used to know that it was from 80 to 100 that was 1. But now they are saying that even with the 90, the likelihood of not getting 1 is there. And I think it is not fair to these young kids that we are bringing up. The person, after writing exams, getting 80, they're supposed to give the person 1. That is a good grade. But they will end up giving a person a bad grade that will make the person down, or that will even make the student not to feel comfortable to learn. So I'm urging our education minister to please look at the grading systems, to please look at how students are pushed to the senior high. If you have not qualified, you have not qualified. If it is aggregate 30 to 40 that you want to cut off, please cut it off. We all cannot go to school. That's the reality. We all cannot go to school. School was not made for all of us. And it's not compulsory for everybody to go to school. Even the rich men that are in this country, most of them did not go to school. So please, we should relook at our grading system. We should look at how teachers are motivated. We should look at the structures and the materials that we put in for students to learn. I will end up by greeting my MP, Rashid Pelpo, and urge that the president should please help the people of Nadori Kaleo constituency by making our MP Anthony
to please get a ministerial position or even a board chair. It will help us a lot. Roland, thank you very much, my again.
Thank you very much for calling in and for those thoughts.
So a couple of messages so far. I have this one from Xavier Nyanyofo, who is a teacher himself, says the WASSCE results this year are reflecting the true ability of our learners, especially those of them who depend on APO. Supervision both internally and externally was top-notch, and I believe this made our learners to do their best, which I think is the outcome of the recent results. Textbooks are needed for effective teaching and learning as well. The entering grade also counts. Entering grades for secondary school or senior high school, you mean? And then we have this one, and it says I should read. Okay. Okay, so he wrote an so that's Simon Yang says, the cause of the poor performance of students is multifaceted. Government, parent, teachers, social media, and the society. The students themselves and many others all have a role to play in this outcome. Having headed 4 different senior high schools in the Upper West region, my experience is that discipline is paramount for improved performance. We are all witnesses to parents attacking teachers for enforcing discipline. He continues, a code of conduct was developed for teachers, but no disciplinary code for students. Commitment on the part of teachers has also dropped significantly. The needed logistics and finances from government is highly insufficient. Parental control, especially for the awards at home, leaves much to be desired. So students remain unguided, use mobile phones, which also is a big factor. I could go on and on, but you say you have to end there, so you've ended. And Isaac Hughes in Takrady says that, tell Beatrice that she looks very corporate. Yeah, Eddie Joy. Say you look like an ambassador.
Isaac.
Education is one of the sectors I would have wished we didn't politicize, but unfortunately, that's what we're doing, and this is creating the mess we keep experiencing, you say. Okay, and Kwesi Mensah Albany, New York, says that how are the students going to perform better while they are going for red, gold, and green? Oh, you mean the tracks? Okay, Prince Nani Oyok, UK, says the main issue was the absence of textbooks for the new curriculum introduced earlier. As a result, students were simply receiving answers directly from teachers instead of learning properly. Many lecturers complained that students who achieve high grades at the tertiary level were not demonstrating knowledge or skills that match those grades. Prince Nania York giving us that message there. Let me also say we have a couple more messages, but do we have another caller?
Yes, we do. Let's go on the phone lines now again. Good morning to you, sir. We can hear you. Tell us your name, where you're calling us from.
Please, I'm calling from Kwen. But please, I want to speak to you.
Please go ahead. Twaso.
Yeah, please, I show the Roland. You have some more there.
Yeah, one swear.
Yeah, the mention of if I show education now, sometimes I know Korea or Mafia, yeah, come once. So, we shall talk to you now. Yenina, Dana Halimina, yes, I make us answer. Now, you're starting school in 1980. So, all the education reforms are all the textbooks at Kahoma. Over there, right now, K4 only new textbook. K4 only textbook over Ireland. And K new textbook, private new textbook, private textbooks are by creative arts, science, and math. And let us look so boy I get. I put our family conquer. So, and the abandoned education let's in your teachers to cry, you tell you could cry me one week, you don't teachers to look at the backside. It didn't help. K Frank, I only have the foundation, let's see a brown. They don't have nothing. So, and the way now that's what was one of the secondary school. As a secondary school, pen and only that means many from primary to teachers maybe as an inform. And you have
One country education minister, Honorable Yusuf said, all the name of the foundation, the crazy to primary education. Near more textbooks on this media. Every some of the textbooks is that could have said, what do you find? Yes, I'm going to this by your church, yoke series. What you want that who shame. It doesn't follow the curriculum. It's yet from. Yes, you're not break, you're walking in a ban teachers in the brothers almost. I won't want the young questions from all for being told you could get see. I the 14th week I did the map. Tell you could on tobacco grammar never. As you said, you on tobacco grammar never. It's a better than education at the Yakos. If you're Sremo, oh, moving here, now SS for Norma, after you know, almost failure, and you're doing an Mafia.
Yes, yeah, that's in a patch or see a floor saying, oh, free for him. So,
your friend unit, make a frequent.
Yeah, that's in the Eastern region. Thank you very much for calling in. Basically saying that we need to pay attention.
I think everybody is very passionate about the subject matter of education.
Yes. Let's give them textbooks and also pay attention to the foundation.
I have this one on our stream. Bright Gleeful says that TV3, please, I wrote to Wasi this year. I really want to talk, but you have to call our lines. Unfortunately, we don't have your... you have to get through as well. And this one is coming from George Pakwisido, who says that I'm the teacher who commented yesterday about teachers who couldn't assess the student because of our fear. I realized people were rather criticizing you, the host. I'm ever ready to cough more some of the problems that have led to the low but true reflection of the performance of our students. The committee set to investigate should not only rely on the directors, they should rather also come to the classroom and meet as the teachers. There, they can't get the true story. I have 9 proposed solutions to the problem. Hey, George, you are trending, oh. This one is coming from Owura Kwame, who says, I'm Kwame, a teacher as well. I can boldly tell you that this is the true result of our students today. As I can recall, Roland, I had a student who couldn't even write myself and to write the WASIL the last 2 years. Well, thank you for those messages, but, you know, it's not... All right.
Yes, we have one more joining us on the phone from Tamale. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for calling us from Tamale in the northern region. Tell us your name and what you've got to say on what's on the table today.
My name is David Rahman. I'm calling from Tamale.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Beatrice. Good morning, Roland.
Good morning again, sir.
You see, let's tell us it is. To be honest with you, Roland, Ghana, we talk too much. We talk too much. Look, anytime there's an issue before confronting this country, people will not objectively analyze it. No emotion, blaming. In fact, Ghana, we talk too much. It's just confusing. Education is not something that we should play with. Look, listen, that if I sit down and watch this dream game, I ask myself whether this country will have critical thinkers. If you want us to understand the root cause of the reason why the education, our standard of education is falling, let us go back to the root. Let's go back to our families. How many people, how many families know what it means to educate their children? Just go to some societies. Parents don't care, fathers don't care. All they need is producing children. From home, if you don't prepare a child, give him what he or she needs, and you just be pushing, thinking that a teacher can just inculcate knowledge into him, you are just deceiving yourself. So let's go back to the fundamentals and see when our parents themselves they are contributing towards the betterment of their children's education. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling us from Tamale.
We have this one from Ato Kwame Akins. Good morning to you. It says there were things that the Akufo-Addo government didn't want us to know. They threatened headmasters and no one complained. Everything is free SHS. Great initiative, bad implementation. And Bonti Benjamin, in all these was a result, Bruhaha. We must urgently develop codes of conduct for students that will instill discipline and effective PTA. Must also be encouraged to iron out the challenges. Bonti Benjamin right here in Accra. And Wizzy sends me, it says it says it's from the Education Minister's constituency and talks about how the truth is that the attention is being given to SHS, ignoring the primary and the GHS level. How can you build a story building on a clay foundation? They should start thinking about the foundation to enhance the main structure.
All right, remember that, as we told, Kanga can strike anytime, but Royal King Cracker is always on standby. When you need something enjoyable to munch on, Royal King Cracker brings the crunch and the battery taste. It fits right into your day, morning, noon, or night. Royal King Cracker, take chalk your hunger. Just grab one and enjoy. This advert is FDA approved, and you're still here on Newday on TV3. When we come back, we'll bring you the big issue and some more. Do stay with us.
works with the prison service, also a Frimpong. I wish you all the best for the day. And as always, I wish you life's blessings. And please make sure you send me a picture. I haven't gotten your latest picture so that I can wish you a happy birthday as always, all right, of the prison service. So I'm talking about Usua Frimpong. So Usua Frimpong, Ghana Prison Service, happy birthday to you. And we have a couple of subjects to discuss this morning. There's a petition. Well, there are petitions actually that have been sent to the office of the president. Now, 3 of them are for the removal or contesting the position or the stay in office or removal of the special prosecutor who occupies that office of the special prosecutor. And the others are for the removal of Madam Jean Mensah as well as her deputies. One of them I know, for example, was sent by an aggrieved worker of the Electoral Commission. The other 6 also, we also are finding out a number of them are also related for public interest, they say. So the question then is, I mean, do we need to remove the special prosecutor if, well, there is a prima facie that has been established or will be established at all in that petition? Following the Chief Justice, then we'll have to set the committee up, etc., judicial council and all those things that have to be done. But more importantly, what do we need to talk about when it comes to the discussion in itself, in terms of why we need to, at a point in time, put brakes on perhaps, the president, if he receives such petitions, not sending them to the Chief Justice, for example, as happened in the Charlotte Osei case as it is. And again, this is governed or bound by Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. Again, it's coming contention again. So let me just introduce our guest this morning. I have Dr. Inusa. Dr. Inusa is here. How's Alan Kojo Chamanting?
Good morning, Roland. Alan is doing very well.
Okay. And thank you for passing through us to this. We're grateful. You'll be joining us for the next 1 hour, 20 minutes. And then Lawyer Hamza Soheyeni is here as well. That's about.
Tabiula, I love you. Oh, you're doing well.
Oh. You think I'm joking?
Oh, that's good.
So we're here. You know I'm his chief, right?
Oh, you are his chief?
Yeah.
From where?
From Kavli.
Oh, he cannot even sleep.
They can't contest that fact.
He cannot even sleep in Camberley for a day.
They can't contest that fact.
He can't there.
Oh, that's so?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
If you want to defeat him, just tell him that you have a place for him at Camberley to sleep overnight.
Is that so?
Try him with that. Try him with that.
Okay. And so we have some slides. We'll take you through, and when we're done with that also, we'll give you the latest as it is on the subject. So, but in the meantime, Lawyer Hamza.
Yes, sir.
What do you know about these petitions that have been received by the president?
Good morning to you. Good morning to my brother in the studio, and of course our cherished viewers out there. It is difficult to say I know more than what has been released in the public domain, because quite clearly, Roland and I do not work at the office of the president or the presidency. And so, just like you, the news came to me as one of the expected outcomes of our governance processes. And it is important to state that when it comes to any democratic dispensation, when you campaign to be elected as an alternative government, there are 2 strands of that particular choice. After your election, there are some of the policies that you would have control over as an executive government, just like President Mahama and the entirety of the NDC government. Then there are some of the policies or interventions, no matter what you do, it is outside your hands as President of the Republic or government, because power is mostly shared with the good people of those of the country that decides to give you that leverage or honor of leading them. And that is the situation the National Democratic Congress government finds itself. We campaigned at the back of the reset agenda. We knew that upon coming into office, we're going to be faced with the challenge of implementing policies that were within our control, policies that we can direct and control. And there were going to be some of the reset momentum that the NDC government itself will not have control over because power is shared. And I think that is where we find ourselves, Roland. And a classical example will help the situation. Indeed, when we came into office, the economy was in a mess. This was directly under the control and direction of the government. And so President Mahama and his government moved swiftly into action. Today, as we speak, inflationary rate of 22.9% that we inherited, we are now having to deal with an inflation of about 8.0%, a positive step. The policy rate from the 21.5 or so is now in the region of about 18%. That means that banks are beginning to do well. These are policies that are directly under the control of His Excellency President Mahama. His Excellency President Mahama, in less than a year, has launched what we call the National Apprenticeship Program under the offices of the National Youth Authority. That is empowering many of our Ghanaian youth with requisite skills as far as their interest areas are concerned. That is a policy that is under his control and direction. Same can be said with the government introduction or increment in the livelihood empowerment against poverty rate and also extending the coverage of it. Same can be said within this period of 1 year or less than 1 year, His Excellency's decision to also improve or increase the school feeding program and a host of other government interventions, including those in the agriculture sector and the management of our exchange rate. So these are policies that are clearly, directly under the office of the president and the government as a machinery. They are undoubtedly going to be policies that would be championed by the good people of this country as a way of partnering that reset agenda and which will be outside the control and influence of His Excellency President Mahama and his government. And I think that these petitions demonstrate that these are aspects of the reset agenda that goes beyond the control and direction of His Excellency President Mahama. Because if you look at Article 146, it is quite clear that if Ghanaians feel so strongly about any office holder who comes under the article, they are allowed to file a petition. And in this particular instance, remember, Roland, unlike the Chief Justice, the responsibility to establish a prima facie case is not on the President. The President only acts as a conveyor belt in the words of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So the responsibility of establishing a prima facie case rests squarely on the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, who is not a political appointee. It is also another independent institution of the Republic of Ghana. So we are hoping that if, no matter how President Mahama feels, whether he wants Jean Mensah and the special prosecutor to go or not to go, his hands are tied. He simply cannot do anything at this stage except to forward that petition to the Chief Justice. So the decision rests squarely on what the outcome of the Chief Justice's determination of a prima facie case, based on which maybe he would proceed, depending on the outcome, to refer the matter to a committee to handle. And so those who are raising issues of political interference must be guided by this brief introduction. And Roland, it is also important for me to state that in relation to the Electoral Commissioner and that of the Special Prosecutor, it should be clear that what surrounds these two offices actually gives credence to my assertion that President Mahama and the NDC government is limited and cannot do anything. And I'll demonstrate why. Remember that prior to, just not long ago, in the Ablekuma North constituency, the NPP suddenly, in fact, let me roll back the time. The NDC in opposition, undoubtedly, led by our national chairman, indicated that there was a need for us to reset the Electoral Commission because they were not up to task and that they were incompetent. It was seen as a chorus being sung by the NDC in opposition. We came to power. The General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, the Chief scribe of the party, also organized a press conference and indicated that they had gotten to a stage where they were convinced that the electoral commissioner and her 2 deputies were not up to task and were grossly incompetent and constituted a danger to democratic stability of this country, and that they will support any move intended to remove them from office. In line with the thoughts of many other Ghanaians. Indeed, civil society organizations, the likes of Franklin Kujo, have had calls in the past to call Imani Ghana, being championed by the likes of Franklin Kujo, also had calls to call for the removal of the Chief Justice. So we realize that it has a national character. It was not just the NDC chairman who felt that they were incompetent. The NPP, as a political party, led by their general secretary, not long ago, joined the chorus and called for her removal and the 2 deputies. Civil society organizations have done so. That call is outside the control of His Excellency President Mahama and the NDC government. It's nationalistic in character. Same can be said of the Office of Special Prosecutor. Indeed, in opposition, some of us had issues with the conduct of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. But I must state clearly that as a political party, there was nowhere that the NDC stated that when they come into office, they would have issues or they would remove the Special Prosecutor. Absolutely not, Roland. But the NPP, again, if you remember, not long ago, are those who are championing the issues of credibility and integrity and fairness against the Special Prosecutor. Indeed, they are the Achilles heel of the Special Prosecutor as far as this 11-month period of the NDC government is concerned. Many of us feel that indeed the Special Prosecutor has questions to answer. But the loudest of the critics comes from the MPP.
Well, so whereas you go to Section 15 of the OSP Act, and it does indicate and itemizes the grounds on which you shall remove that that special prosecutor who heads the office there. We also then need to discuss that, well, looking at how, perhaps, depends on who and where you're looking at it from, which side of the divide. Others will say that the OSP and then the SP that occupies that office have been able to exhibit a lot of competence in the office, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Because I disagree completely.
You disagree?
I disagree completely. I do not think that when I see the Special Prosecutor, and that is why I agree with the New Patriotic Party.
Because in Section 15 of the Act, they said you can only remove unstated misbehavior and incompetence, incapacity to perform the functions of the office by reason of infirmity, willful violation of the official oath, and then continues or the oath of secrecy, conduct which brings or is likely to bring the office of the Special Prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt, is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or the security of the state. And then it said a person who seeks to remove the Special Prosecutor must then submit, actually makes it a shall, so very obligatory, to the President. And so the question then we have to answer today is that, the man pursues Cecilia Dapa, etc. Apart from Martin Pibu, everybody seems to think that
it is not only Martin Pibu, and that's why I've indicated that they are leading members of the New Patriotic Party who have demonstrated that they are uncomfortable with the way the Special Prosecutor is going. In any case, absolutely, and personally seated here, and that is not the position of the National Democratic Congress that I represent on this platform. This is my personal position. I feel that he has not demonstrated any measure of competence as far as that office is concerned. And I'm convinced that he has serious questions to answer when it comes to credibility and integrity, which should be the basis of actually living up to the objectives of that particular office. And I feel that there are so many questions. And I've said that on this same platform, Roland. I am of the view strongly that there is the need for the Special Prosecutor to be held to account. And I am glad that these petitions are flying. But mind you, what makes this different is the fact that there seems to be some consensus amongst us. Those of us who feel strongly about his competence or otherwise seem to be agreeing, partially or fully, with the concerns of the New Patriotic Party, especially when it comes to the very office that they created and the activities of the man in question. Like I have indicated severally, I believe strongly that his activities today constitute an obstruction to any sincere quest for political accountability. And there's the need for us to ensure that accountability on the part of the special prosecutor. So, Roland, unlike what we experienced in the case of Charlotte Osei and Co., this is unique in relation to the Electoral Commissioner. Because even the NPP started calling for the removal of the Electoral Commissioner and her 2 deputies. The NDC never did the same. So regardless of how we feel as a government today, we simply cannot do anything about those calls. It is even possible that a chunk of these petitions are coming from the NPP stock.
Oh, how can you make those conclusions?
I have not seen the names, but I'm just telling you that it's possible. It's a possibility, Roland. So until we get the names behind the petitions...
Possibility?
It's a possibility because they have indicated by a national press conference that they want these guys to go. They have indicated through their general secretary that the electoral commissioner should go. They have also indicated by leading members of their, through leading members of their party that the SP should go. So there is that consensus, and that's why I told you that this aspect of accountability, in line with the reset agenda, goes outside the control of His Excellency President Mahama and the NDC government, because they will not determine the prima facie case as far as this matter is concerned. So we should trust that this is the cost of accountability and a reset that the Ghanaian people voted for. And if they need that to happen, and the Chief Justice looks through the petitions and is able to establish a prima facie, why not? The processes will take its course.
Dr. Anusa, here we are. Distinguished gentleman in legal jurisprudence in Ghana, given a lot of accolades, especially at the faculty level, said to be a mentor to many people. Now, here we are, he's occupied this office. At least he's been able to show that if given the support, he can do well. And his latest mission is to make sure that he's able to get Ken Ofori-Atta extradited back to Ghana to face some action so far. But your own assessment, first with the OSP.
Well, Roland, let me say a very good morning to your good self and to my brother Hamza and to your team at TV3 and the good work you're doing for Mother Ghana. Let me take this opportunity to also say a very good morning to Honorable Alan Kojo Tramantin, our founder and leader of the United Party. Roland, students of public policy and erudites of public policy, indeed, would ask the question, what has been the cost to benefit analysis of the creation of the office of the OSP and his work so far in eradicating corruption or fighting against corruption, especially in our public polity?
How do you mean?
What is the cost to benefit? Government has spent monies through the Consolidated Fund, right, to support that office with the mandate of ensuring that there is accountability across board. Today, we sit here with a feeling of melancholy, knowing very well that all the public financing that has gone into that office is just waste.
Really?
Absolutely waste.
Well, I'll take you through some achievements so far. Shadra, just put them on the screens and let perhaps Dr. Inusa will get to see. You haven't seen it.
I've seen that on their Facebook post. I'm telling you, it's waste. Roland, it is just waste.
Shadra, let's go through. Let's give him a recall and a recount. Prevention and public education, the achievement so far.
Yes.
The OSP has reached some 9.4 million people. Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians alike.
Once upon a time, we were told that 5.5 million people benefited from the senior high school program. Meanwhile, it was just 3.2 million.
Next one. Youth Against Corruption. They have 10 in-person sessions in Accra, Kufodria, and Tamale, engage in 4,138 students
Roland,
in Accra.
are you their PRO?
No, you are making claims that
the
public purse
and what it is.
And then the allocations that are given them in the budget after appropriation. And so they've also engaged 210 youth in Tamale You know Tamale very well. It's a place Sohini knows very well.
That's right.
Engaged 350 young leaders in Koforidua. Strong social media presence, educating young people on integrity and corruption risk. And you say what?
Wow. So that is the achievement.
They've been able to recover. So far, you've seen 6.5 million.
Billion.
No, million.
Is it million?
Yeah,
okay,
billion.
Okay.
And then $2 million US as well. And the sources of recoveries, all the asset seizures running into over 100 million. Someone will ask, this really is debatable or not?
Roland, I think that this is really the funniest thing I've seen coming from a government institution this far. But indeed, the public would be the ultimate judge. I am saying that if you look at the cost to benefit analysis of the office so far, since its inception to date, we haven't had real value for that office. Look at
averted losses, 5.7 billion.
The Organized Crime Report Project, right, has projected Ghana's loss to corruption each year at a whopping amount of $3 billion each year. So let's calculate the time the OSP was created till date. We're looking at sums of over $12 billion. So if indeed you're telling me that he was able to what? Freeze assets and, mitigate corruption issues to a tune of over 5 billion cedis. That's about, let's say, $500 million, if my estimation serves me right. Let's just suppose that to the report by ORCCP.
Yeah, but the OSP is not the only anti-graft or anti-corruption
and that
agency.
is, but again,
we have the Auditor General.
We have Sraj, we have Yoko, and the likes, and the
FIC.
police. Yes, and I'm saying that, Roland, so far he has received over 140 million Ghana cedis to his office. If you look at the budget appropriation, even it's over 1 billion cedis, but the release is over 140 million Ghana cedis to date. Now, what has been the real gain to the people of Ghana in terms of fighting corruption? Corruption is rampant in this country. Do you get what I mean? It does not take a magic wand to fight corruption. You just have to enforce the laws. This OSP, from the office of the AG, has been revealed that, and he has been exposed, that he is trying as much as possible not to pursue the Ken Ofori-Atta case in extraditing him back to Ghana. And we've seen the records from the interview granted by Justice Remsai with your sister station, right, on this matter, that the OSP is even failing to release dockets to the AG's office to process the extradition of Ken Ofori-Atta into Ghana. So what is the OSP talking about in the first place, Roland? We should not take scripture lessons from a drinking bar. We've seen countless times in this country, people man very sensitive office. We have high hopes for them. We support them, and they deliver nothing. It is time for Kisi Ejabin to bow down and leave that office.
For what?
For incompetence and the lack of a serious will to fight against corruption. Roland, we have a situation whereby many people have petitioned his office on certain allegations of corruption. My own colleague Solomon Owusu has petitioned his office to investigate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's claim that he sponsored the MPP with over 300 Navara pickups in the first place. Now, look at how much a vice president earns in office. And just suppose it to the cost of 300 pickups. Has he been able to really give some audience to that petition and investigate the matter to date? No. And many more. And so we are calling on the office of the OSP. And indeed, many Ghanaians are even calling on for the repeal of that office, and even asking whether that office is even relevant in the first place in fighting corruption. We believe that in the United Party, that the time has come for us to rationalize our laws and to define what corruption is. Council is here, and he knows very well that in our legal jurisprudence currently, the definition for corruption is quite ambiguous. And you have a lot of state institutions with overlapping mandates You have Shraj fighting corruption. You have NIB fighting corruption. You have Yoko fighting corruption. The police fighting corruption. OSU fighting corruption. And you do not seem to know who actually is fighting corruption. We need to rationalize all the legal regulations into one holistic regulation that talks about corruption and how we will deal about it. And we have to give that money to one institution. That is to be the office of the OSP. I am not for the scrapping of the OSP. But indeed, when you have competent people man this institution with the will and the zeal to fight corruption, right, without fear or favor to any political party, we would have some real gains when it comes to the fight against corruption.
And the other part of the petition also say that the EC boss as well as the deputy also need to be removed.
Oh.
We're told that 7 of them.
Roland, as for that matter, it's a foregone conclusion. I mean...
Madam Jena Adukwe Mensah.
Well, you pronounce the name well. I would not even have been able to pronounce the second name well. But you pronounce it well. Anyway, I have to come for some Ghana classes from you. Anyway, Roland, today we are lucky as a country that we survived the 2024 election without any chaos.
The 2020, actually.
But even the 2024 election without any chaos. And that is why on this platform I want to commend, the best thing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has ever done in his political career and to this country was to concede early. And it saved us a lot as a country. Roland, if Charlotte Mensah, the former EC boss,
Charlotte Osei,
Charlotte Osei, was removed on the basis of procurement breaches and incompetence and certain issues of corporate governance, then indeed, Jean Mensah has to follow suit. There's a report by Imani that cited procurement breaches from the EC that led to even the chairperson for the procurement board of the EC to resign. It is on record that the BVD machines were procured through illegal means and not through the right procurement. We have procurement laws guiding every public institution. And so if you go not according to the procurement laws and contravention to the procurement laws, then indeed you are practicing or you've indulged in an illegality. That is what I mean by illegal. And so it is caught on record that the EC contravened these procurement laws. It is also very clear to us that the people of SAU, who are citizens of this country and have every right under the 1992 Constitution to have a fair representation in Parliament, were denied that because of the EC's incompetence and indeed their own shenanigans to favor the then government of the day. We've seen that. And that is a clear violation of the Constitution. That in itself should even make them go. Now, the person of Bosman Asari, who is a known MPP TESCOM patron of the University of Ghana, was placed in an independent constitutional body. Indeed, an independent body that was supposed to...
The response at the time was that he has the competence, and so it's an independent body. So,
Roland, what do you expect? We've seen the works of Bosman Asari. We've seen the defense they've staged for the EC against legitimate claims of the people of Ghana. Right? We've seen how they have been able to, they use certain manipulative techniques to favor the government of the day during that era.
How do you mean?
Roland, the issue of ballot paper tampering and all that, it is caught on record that each and every political party needs an agent present during the printing of ballot papers. Do you know who was in charge of the ballot printing? It was an MPP person, a known MPP person. I would not want to mention the name.
Oh, how do you?
The company was an MPP, was manned by an MPP person, it was owned by an MPP person.
You can make these spurious allegations.
It's not spurious, it is there. It is there. And I'm sure that in the petition, someone might have even captured it. This is not propaganda, Roland. This is fact. And so the EC's demeanor, the EC's actions in managing the affairs of Ghana's election has been ridiculed with a lot of incompetence And it is time, at least, the Chief Justice, Justice Bafo-Boni, which I accord with the highest respect, and indeed, Roland, I know he will do a yeoman's job for the people of Ghana to remove these people, but going forward, we want to see a second chamber in this country that would have the mandate. I mean, currently we run a unicameral parliamentary system. We want our parliamentary system to be bicameral. And then the powers of appointing heads of independent constitutional bodies should be with the second chamber and not the executive. Because we've seen, I mean, within our Fourth Republic,
for change, that's
the
what
United Party is proposing such. We've seen within our...
The United Party in your GTP?
In our GTP. We've seen within our Fourth Republican dispensation that the tenure of certain heads of independent constitutional bodies is coterminous with the executive. This is quite detrimental to our democracy. It fuels political instability. And that is why we are calling for a second chamber to do these appointments into various independent constitutional bodies so that we can have some form of stability and institutional strengthening as far as our governance system is concerned. So, Roland, I think that this petition is right. I myself, I want to put it on record that COP Tete Yohonu, the IGP of police, is also going to suffer the same fate. I am going to lead a petition for his removal on the basis of incompetence, right? And shielding certain police officers from the Police Act in terms of seeking justice and accountability. This IGP has, I mean, it was a wrong move by the president to even extend his tenure in the first place. I did not see that coming, but indeed, I am going to lead a charge for his removal at all costs. Roland, and if he's listening to me today, he knows what I'm talking about. He knows what he has done. And I am going to make sure that such thing, collectively with my team in the United Party, such things that really infringe on the constitutional rights of citizens of Ghana would not be tolerated going forward in the Better Ghana agenda that we want to seek for all of us.
So, Hini, so now the Chief Justice then will have to put together the committee and then we'll find some investigations undertaken. If a prima facie is established,
yes,
then it means that the committee will have to sit and the investigation will have to be done. But we know that we've had an electoral commission boss, Charlotte Osei, removed before, and the concern that had been raised had been that a bad precedent had been set. Should we also follow suit? So,
I think that there's a need for us to distinguish, and that's why I had to give you that democratic landscape in terms of how powers of states are exercised, where one can be exercised by the executive through the government of the day, and the other, the good people of the republic. And that is what has happened in this case. In the case of Charlotte Osei, Roland, I'm sure you would agree with me that there were certain bizarre circumstances surrounding her removal, to the extent that the first time faceless individuals had filed a petition to His Excellency the President. How His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo discovered the faces behind that faceless petition still remains a mystery to many of us. But they were discovered, given the petition, and these guys proceeded to at least make the necessary corrections for the president to forward. When the president at that material state was clothed with the legal authority to simply reject the petition as being clearly insufficient in terms of meeting the standards of a petition for onward forwarding to the Chief Justice under Article 146. But the government's agenda for the removal of Charlotte Osei predated that petition. Indeed, they had signaled, even in opposition, that they were going to do so. And that is why I had to make that comparison. Even upon assumption of government, when they proceeded on that tangent, the NDC never supported that call and thought that it was dangerous, especially so when the grounds for her removal were clearly laughable. Under this current dispensation, what is happening is that there seems to be a confluence of thought in terms of position. Though certain leading members of the NDC, also in opposition, called for a removal of the current electoral commissioner, there is evidence today that shows that the largest opposition party in Ghana, the New Patriotic Party, through their own chief scribe, is also on record speaking for the party by saying that the time has come for the electoral commissioner and her 2 deputies to go for gross incompetence and corruption, and also being directed by the new government. So there is that agreement. Also, we have civil society organizations like Imani agreeing with these 2 political parties that there is the need for a reset as far as the Electoral Commission is concerned. So that is the remarkable difference with what is happening now if compared to what happened under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as president. But thankfully, again, Roland, we are dealing with a Chief Justice who knows his own news. It is not His Excellency President Mahama who will take that decision in terms of the establishment of a prima facie case. It is going to be Chief Justice Bafo Boni, the respected, revered, who would take that decision. And regardless of the outcome, we will be compelled to respect the outcome of that decision. So we should not proceed on the assumption that indeed these individuals are guilty because a petition has been filed against them. It is possible that Bafo Boni CG, at the end of the day, would be tempted to say that, look, there is no establishment of a prima facie case.
We've been joined by Dr. Koba. Thank you for joining us as well. And then also Austin Bracco Powers as well, who's so the 2 of them legal practitioners. So we have 3 of them on the table for us. But you look at what happened to Charlotte Osei, subsequently the triggering of Article 146 as well, and subsequently the concerns that had been raised by civil society organizations, whether for the competence or incompetence of the EC boards, and then the concerns about whether the precedent we're setting is right for the future. What will be your own analysis so far?
Well, I mean, it's just simple. My question is, are these petitions genuinely motivated? If they are, I think they deserve our support. Why? Because there's no state institution is above accountability. I am for it. And I have said that part of the reason why our anti-corruption efforts have yielded little results is a consistent lack of political will. Because true leadership requires the courage to act in the interest of the people, not partisan or personal interest. So, Roland, let it be noted that I am for accountability. But what I am opposed to is the use of accountability as a mask for political vendetta. That is what I'm opposed to.
You think there's vengeance?
No, but Roland, I mean, is it not curious? 7 petitions against the EC chair and her deputies. And we have 3 more against the OSP. But let's deal with them. In fact, the curious thing is that the sheer number of petitions is suspicious. The sheer number of petitions is suspicious. In fact, this has a semblance of, it appears as a premeditated political assault.
Premeditated?
Yes. Not a quest for accountability. Let it be noted. Not a quest for accountability. But it appears as a premeditated assault to cripple independent state institutions. And this trend is dangerous.
As a lawyer, would you say precedent plays a key role in the determination of matters?
Well, even when we are determined as to whether or not to obey or adhere to precedent, we look at whether or not the facts are the same, whether you can distinguish. That is one fact. You can, if they are not the same, you can distinguish and decide not to go by a precedent. Why do we like to cite what happened to Charlotte Osei as precedent and the basis of which the EC chair should go? Roland, I have said that not every wrongdoing warrants removal. It should be, it's simple. Some wrongdoings require what? Reforms, not expulsion. Because what we are doing, I don't know why we are so fixated on getting Charlotte Osei James removed and their deputies, and now we have extended it to the OSP. That is surprising and scandalous. I think, Roland, in our quest to build independent, formidable institutions, we must always prioritize the need to reforms, not to remove. Because it is not every wrongdoing. Because you see, if the act is not fatal, triggering or invoking the removal process is unnecessary. Are you not surprised with the number of petitions immediately after the new, after we have, or the new Chief Justice was sworn in? Are you not surprised?
Are you asking me, or you're making
it's
a rhetoric?
I mean, I'm talking to the viewers and those who are watching from social media. I mean, are you not surprised? But I think beyond this, Roland, I think it begs the question. I feel it is about time public office holders engage in what I call self-reflection. Because looking at the number of petitions, I just don't know, what are the issues? What issues do they have against the Electoral Commission? So, because Charlotte Osel was removed on the basis of some procurement breaches and other infractions, same should be extended to that, and because of that, that is a precedent worthy of emulation. No. I think we should go.
I don't understand. So you support the removal of Charlotte Osel?
I am not. I'm on this table. My position is clear. Not every wrongdoing warrants removal. Simple. With some, you must reform, and that's how we progress. But the thing is that, Roland, must we tolerate corruption or fundamental breaches of the law? Absolutely not. But should removal be our first response? Certainly not. That shouldn't be the path for us. I think we are moving on, or we are taking the path of no return. And it is about time our leaders, our political leadership.
My brother is turning the law upside down. Please.
What law am I turning upside down?
He's expressing his
opinion.
opinion.
What law am I turning upside down?
You want me to
please go ahead.
prompt you?
No, please.
No, so I think this government should
turning at
pause.
146 down, Roland.
This government should pause. The thing is that we must not encourage attitudes or habits that we will not be able to support in future. Because what we are doing, we are weakening our independent institutions. We are weakening them. And this will undermine our anti-corruption efforts, which this government claimed to be fighting. If you are committed to corruption, it's not every wrongdoing that you must.
So the president, for example, receiving the petitions, whether it's for the OSP or the EC, shouldn't have then.
Brother,
I have not made that submission yet.
So
what I'm saying is that.
What submissions are you then making?
No. So what I'm saying is that because it is not for the president in this matter to establish a prima facie case. It is for the Chief Justice. But I'm making this submission, bringing in, trying to bring on board what has transpired, even with regards to the removal of the Chief Justice. It's a pattern. It's a pattern which I'm trying to point out that we need to be careful. Why? When you look at the grounds upon which the EC chair and even the OSP could be removed, stated misbehavior, I have said it times with that number, Roland, that stated misbehavior is too open. And they can rope in any infraction, however minor, just to remove you. And that is why I'm sounding a word of caution that let's be careful of the trajectory we are taking. It is not helping our institutions.
Roland, under 1 minute. Under 1 minute. I'll try it, Roland.
I don't understand why.
No, I need to provide information to you. I need to provide information.
You don't need to provide information because I'm not saying anything that.
When they were not here, you were speaking. Yes,
I've not even made any submission that requires your
input.
You have.
Because the position is clear. I am saying that this government is too fixated on getting rid of independent state institutions or holders of independent state institutions. I don't know what the motive is, but the long term, this will have a long-term ramification for our state. It will weaken these institutions, and they will be scared of even fighting elements of this government. And that is not what we want. The president says he's committed to anti-corruption. He says he wants to eradicate or minimally remove corruption. If you want to do that, this is not the path to take. He should rethink.
Dr. Koba, we need strong institutions. That's what he's positing. Well, and that the fact that the law says that you should do A doesn't mean you should go ahead and do them. And that it's premeditated.
Roland, I've been listening to my learned friend. And I'm not sure what he wants the president to do. He is the president. He's sworn in. There's a constitution before him. The constitution says that when you receive a petition, you should do A, B, C, D. So far, he has done what the constitution says. My learned friend seems to be prejudging the process.
Prejudging?
Yes. I don't know what he wants the president to do. The president should not refer the petition to the Chief Justice. I can understand that he has issues with the framework, the total constitutional framework, and perhaps that's a question for the Constitutional Review Committee, committee or the commission or whatever now, to take a look at. But sitting in the place of His Excellency John Mahama right now, I don't know what he wants the president to do. And we must be fair to the facts. If the president had sat on the petitions and had done nothing, I'm sure some of us will also be complaining that he is not doing what he is required to do, and he's not staying faithful to the oath that he took. So I'm just confused. I think that we should just wait and see where this goes. The Constitution says that the Chief Justice will decide.
Well, he's here though, Lawyer Branko Powers, but he's talking about a chain of public opinion conversations that have started in the public domain, individual utterances that led to an action, and now we have the second one. So he draws a conspiracy theory. So clearly, the president is not supposed to take any action, just supposed to follow through what the Constitution says. But then he says that that has been outlined already, and that he doesn't even need to do anything at all.
I'm not sure. We are lawyers, the law says you should do this, and you do so, say, well, because you've done so this in the past, this is conspiracy theory. We can't go that way.
The law is the law.
As I said, if we have an issue with the framework, the constitutional framework, the Article 416 need to be reviewed, that's a matter for the Constitutional Review Commission. The president has his hands tied. The president is doing what is required to do. And in any case, whatever he does, some of us will read political meanings into his actions. And I know that this is not a president who will refuse to do what he has to do because of those concerns.
What's the take for you on Ghana needs strong institutions, and so we shouldn't be creating examples that remain indelible on our history?
So Ghana needs strong institutions, so we should create untouchables. No. These strong institutions will be headed by humans. And when these humans need to be held accountable. And if you go off track, the system should have a way of correcting you or removing you. So I don't think that having strong institutions and holding people accountable, that those two are opposed to each other. Yes, in fact, one could argue that what is happening will eventually strengthen the institution. Who is prejudging? Dean Mensah Madame Jean Mensah could go through this and come out clean, squeaky clean. It's possible. Let's not prejudge the system. Let the process go through, and we'll see whether Dr. Bosman, Asari, and Tete, and their boss will come through. You know.
Roland, strong institutions.
I concur to what senior counsel is.
We need strong institutions. That's the argument.
Absolutely. But again, I mean, for us
and
to
so
have...
we've removed the first EC board, so we shouldn't follow through.
Yeah, but I think that it would be a bit unfair to say, I mean, certain merits within the petition that we've not yet seen it, but I mean, we can assume that the issue of SAL would also be stipulated in one of the petitions. And we know that independent constitutional bodies ought to respect and regard the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. If you deny citizens a fair representation in Parliament, it is indeed a grave violation of the Constitution. And so if my colleague, counsel, says that we should not remove certain heads of independent constitutional bodies based on certain, I would say, little infraction, I think that this is even the greatest infraction in the first place. Because if you deny people a fair representation in Parliament, it is a big contravention of the Constitution. And that was conducted by the EC chairperson and her deputies. And so we are of the view that for us to build stronger institutions, Roland, we need that political will. Indeed, a collective political will. And within that legal framework, we are calling for what? A constitutional reform. That is why I have said this morning that the authority to appoint heads of independent constitutional bodies should not be the executive, but rather, in line with the new constitution we want to bring, we should scrap the Council of State. It has overlived its mandate. I mean, it's not working for us. And we should bring in a second chamber. This second chamber should be made up of apolitical heads and non-state actors. So we are talking about
who is a non-state actor, who is apolitical.
So a CSO is a non-state
CSO
actor.
members are apolitical?
I'm saying that I'll deliberate on that, Roland. We can argue on this fantastically. And then once we get to the conclusion of it, we would understand squarely. I'm talking about this second chamber comprising of our faith-based organizations, gender-based organizations, trade unions, CSOs, academia, okay? Now we have also the youth-based organizations, PWDs, right? That would have the mandate to appoint heads of independent constitutional bodies. Now people would argue that, okay, our traditional authorities are partisan. But again, I've said I have relatives who are paramount chiefs. And I know that the reason why our chiefs become partisan is because of bread and butter issues of their wards. If they don't align to a certain political party, right, they will not be able to get the needed support to fend for their wards. That is what goes on in Ghana today. The media has been influenced by partisan politics because of bread and butter issues. Various independent bodies have been influenced because of that. But if we remove the appointing authority, if we remove the powers from the executive and give it to this second chamber, it would be able to neutralize these issues that we are talking about. But as far as the status quo is concerned, we know that these issues are dominant.
All right, okay. You take a look at the OSP and the petition for him to be removed. And the office also comes out publicly on their social media platforms and so make this, I would say, great broadcast of the achievements so far. Have you been able to apprise yourself of some of those achievements? They've been able to reach out to, through civic engagement, a number of young people. They say they've been able to stop to the tune of potentially some 5.7 billion, been able to retrieve additionally 2 million on one side and I believe 6 million in excess of Ghana cedis
on the other side, and the first two being a USD in sum. Now, that should be a good argument, but the question then will be for you, having been a lawyer, and I'm sure he's also your mentor as well, because I'm sure he read his books, he taught you, etc. So, do you think that he's been hounded too many times, or there's a merit in the public opinion expressions that the special prosecutor hasn't been competent at his job?
Well, it's simple. I think our expectations of the OSP are too much.
I don't understand.
I mean, we expect so much from the OSP. That is where I have said that is where
the act establishing it is Act 959.
Yes, 959.
Passed in 2017.
Yes.
And his functions are well itinerized.
And if you ask me, Roland, he has performed creditably well. I have told, a lot of colleagues that you can't sit in your office and claim the OSP has not done anything. That would be our amount of foul play. I think this OSP has done well. Maybe we are expecting we are expecting the OSP to do a lot of things, or maybe the OSP has not been too strict. But if you ask me, this OSP has done well. In fact, many say he has not secured any conviction, but that is further away from the truth. Conviction does not mean go to jail or being handed a jail time. If you are fined, is that not conviction? Or even if you agree to a plea bargaining agreement, the basis of which you are admitted to a lesser offense, and you are convicted on the basis of your plea, is that not conviction?
In law, you say?
It's conviction. No, the thing is that we are speaking to Ghanaians. We need to educate them. You see, these people may not have the opportunity to sit in the law class. So it is our responsibility to let them know that conviction does not necessarily mean being handed a jail time. And when you look at their media reports, which, Roland, I'm sure you have familiarized yourself with it, you could see the number of cases they've handled and the convictions they've secured. I think we should, so far, per my count, the OSP has secured from January to June about seven convictions. That should be commendable. I don't think we need to be sitting somewhere and be thinking that the OSP is not doing enough. Don't forget that we are operating within a political terrain, which in itself is crippling. If you want to act, certain political actors will be on your neck. Which is why I think this OSP has done well. We need to retool the OSP, encourage the OSP. The OSP may not move swiftly as we may expect, but slowly, the OSP will achieve whatever we do. And Roland, let us not invest so much confidence in the OSP as being the only institution that we expect to fight corruption. No. The OSP is a complementary institution. Our anti-corruption fight is not dependent on only one institution. So the fixation on the OSP and that the OSP is not doing enough and that there are so many people in the previous administration had siphoned millions of cedis and dollars and that the OSP is not doing enough to arrest the situation. Is that how we move a nation? That is why, Roland, in concluding, I have said that the Attorney General must also step on the brake a little. Because sometimes we tell the people, we feed the people with so much allegations or so many allegations, then when we are not able to ground, even get conviction, then they get disappointed. Let us manage the expectations of Ghanaians. And we need to let them know. Trial takes time. And in the courtroom, it is the judge that determines the process. It is not you. So the OSP has done well. We don't need to be handling the OSP or trying to get rid of the OSP and in place bring another person. The problem is if we detected any issues with the way the OSP is working, let us make those recommendations to OSP and let us move forward. We can't just be removing people left, right, center.
Dr. Koba, your own assessment of
again.
Yeah, you've commented on it.
I'm not commenting. Again, Roland.
This is the third time he's going.
Again, Roland. All these.
If Roland is not interested in my submission, I can humbly leave.
I'm interested. Yeah.
I know he really made that comment.
Please.
Roland, again, all the comments that my
Lawyer Austin Bracco Powers.
Yes, whom I respect very much. He's one of the young lawyers that I respect. I listen. Anytime he's on TV, I say, so I need to listen to him. I respect him. But so all the things he has said here, they're all available to the Chief Justice for him to determine whether there is a prima facie case against the OSP. I have seen the OSP's reports. I have some concerns about how quickly he goes to the press. I think that maybe he should be a little bit conservative in his exposure to the public.
Because of the institution he holds?
Yes. But everything that my brother
he loves to undertake
is concerned
stakeholder
about
engagement.
Everything is available to Chief Justice Bafo-Boni. And that determination as to a prima facie case will be made. And we will move on from there. So I think that, yes, we need strong institutions. I think that Chief Justice is, the judiciary is one of those strong institutions. We have a leader of the judiciary who is in charge of establishing whether there is a case to answer. And they will go, he will do what he is supposed to do, and we'll move from there. I know we cannot, the country we live in is such that we will politicize this. But as I said, until we change the constitution, this is the way it is, and it is going to be like that until there is a change.
I see. Lawyer Zohini.
Now you are interested in what I have to say.
On WhatsApp.
Now you are interested.
Okay.
Now you're interested.
So let's just give me your 2 minutes views on the West African Examination Council and the view that has been expressed by GES.
I think that before that, it is only fair that I respond to some of the accusations that were thrown out without any basis against the government. My brother alleges that the government is fixated in getting these institutional heads out of office. And that's why I was wondering whether he took his time to at least read Article 146 again, and in relation to the special prosecutor and that of the Electoral Commissioner. Like senior counsel indicated, that fixation cannot be supported if you understand the principles underpinning Article 146. And that's why I was a little bit worried. Again, he alleges that we should not proceed to be removing people on the basis of flimsy excuses, and reference the fact that Charlotte Osei was removed on the basis of procurement breaches, amongst others. I agree, in principle, that it shouldn't have been, the basis of the removal of Charlotte Osei shouldn't have been procurement breaches. But Roland, you have not read the petitions before the Chief Justice that has been forwarded. How do you conclude that these are not issues that would be grounded enough to warrant a removal of these institutional heads? Secondly, the determination as to whether or not the contents of the petition would suffice to remove either special prosecutor or the electoral commissioner is not for myself and you to do. The Constitution places that responsibility on the Chief Justice, unless, of course, as a young lawyer on this table, you are questioning the competence and capability of the Chief Justice. It is not for nothing that the court and our Constitution place that fetter, because they know that Ghanaians can wake up and put together all manner of allegations and forward it to the president for him to also forward to the Chief Justice to remove. The Constitution plays that fetter so that the Chief Justice will look at those petitions and determine whether they are chaff or not. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with this process. And so be careful with the conclusion that the government is fixated. This is beyond the powers of the government of the day. And I think that I provide that basis, and we ought to be careful.
Is the basis not the fact that there had been public narratives and utterances? And you yourself
that is why I gave you, I gave you that even if we are, and I use the word if, even if we are to go on the public course, for the first time, unlike Charlotte said, we have two major political parties calling for the removal of the electoral commissioner and her two deputies. For the first time, we have civil society organizations actually championing the removal of the electoral commissioner and her two deputies. This did not happen in the case of Charlotte Ase, and you can challenge me on that. Again, in relation to the special prosecutor, you are having elements from the ruling National Democratic Congress who feel that he ought to be out of office because of his performance. You are having elements from the New Patriotic Party who also agree that Kisi Ajeben ought to be made to go. You are having civil society organizations like the Coalition of whatever against integrity, something like that, also calling for the removal of Kisi Ajeben. This is historic.
Hamza, not to cut you short. Roland, please.
My time is up. On the issue of the Wasi, just you have a minute, and I'm timing you 60 seconds. Use all to rebut.
I have chanced upon the outcome of the results. It's not one that is inspiring in terms of what has been released. So much can be done. But like I indicated, as a government, even when we're in opposition as a political party, we made a promise that we would not interfere when it comes to the massaging of the education processes in terms of either procuring subtly or not the questions that the students are meant to write, simply because we want to make the numbers. This government will be interested in actually ascertaining the true quality of the education that is going down in our various secondary schools and basic institutions. And so we will take a cue from this, we'll look at the data, and begin to see where we can retool the educational sector to be able to at least meet the objectives of many of us, at least an impressive pass rate. But we will not join the partisan way of making the books look good, when in actual sense, there are underlying challenges that needs to be confronted. So I'm happy that our non-interference is beginning to bring out some of the challenges in the educational sector and reminding the government that so much investment needs to be done in that sector. And thankfully, for the first time in so many years, GET Fund has been strategically positioned to now be able to meet many of these challenges. And these are some of the unforgettable legacies of His Excellency President Mahama, who will talk about in so many years to come.
Yes,
your
Roland,
2 cents on this. We have to.
Roland, indeed, education is not a privilege but a right. Today, the people of Ghana have seen the true state of our secondary education system. It's sad knowing very well that, a lot of young people have failed. 1 out of 4 students that wrote the WASSCE examination failed in core mathematics and then social sciences or social studies. Indeed, Roland, we need an absolute reform in our educational institutions. We need an absolute reform in our curriculum. The era of true and poor is over. We need to inculcate critical thinking in the foundation of our educational system. And that is why I'm calling on the educational minister to look at how best he can reform the curriculum to deal with the teething issues of Ghana's economic problems and look at Ghana's economic future, where we want to get to as a country. Right. Today, there is a mismatch between what the academia produces and then the job market. You know that for a fact. And that is contributing to the joblessness of a lot of youthful people. And so we want to see the educational system tailor into the vision of our country to reorient our economy from an import-driven one to an export-driven one. Just on the side of the conversation of the OSP, please, let me just chip in, Roland. The OSP lied about saving Ghana $2.7 billion rather than 500 million.
What's it?
No, I'm saying that. No. Let me just.
Please bring him some water.
The OSP lied.
What's it? It's okay.
Roland, Roland,
Roland, you are not being fair to me, respectfully.
I've been
You gave me 2 minutes. You are not being fair. I have to chip in this. The OSP lied that he saved Ghana $2.7 billion. Meanwhile, the SML deal was little to $500 million. And so I cannot trust the projections that they have stipulated on their social media handle. I cannot trust those figures because it could be cooked. Because how can you come out to the public domain and lie to the people of Ghana?
What do you mean by that? That will be determined in the petition, please.
Well, we'll live to see.
Dr. Enosa,
We'll live to see. $2.7 billion. We'll live to see.
Wasi. Stick to Wasi for me.
Yes, it's fair square. I think our educational system has been working repeatedly. And I have said that the free SHS is a contributing factor, particularly the manner in which, I'm not against the policy in principle, but the manner of implementation that has caused the situation we are. In fact, I agree with the GES. This result is a true reflection of the state of our students.
Hey,
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Lawyer Austin Braco Powers.
Yes, I am. Because you see, the thing is that we have, glossed over the effect of social media on the studies of our students. In fact, these days, you go on social media, you see students, SHS, third-year students, second-year students, they've recorded short videos saying all sorts of things. And the regulators have sat by and they've not done anything to inject some level of discipline. Because, you see, for the student to learn and learn well, to build, and I was worried when I read the report. I got worried, and I was thinking about the future of Ghana. That tomorrow,
because this is a whole generation.
Exactly. Yeah. That tomorrow we may have to bring in foreigners to man most of our institutions. It is a threat. It is sometimes when we see some of these things, they are symptoms of a larger problem to come, and we need to prepare towards it. I agree. I think the Minister of Education is a man who can do a good job. I expect him to sit his men down and revive our education system.
Fantastic. Yeah. You saw the refrain yesterday, and then also the concerns and the data.
Very saddening. But look, I'm a realist. You as
You're a realist?
Yes, GES said
baggage in, baggage out.
This is the true state. And I haven't taught in this country for quite a while. I tend to agree.
I don't understand.
Listen,
what are your experiences from teaching?
I attended Ketan Methodist Middle Boys School in secondary. And from there, I went to infant swim school. Okay, most of us.
One of the best schools.
Yes, no, the best. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. The only school in the country, you know that. The rest are all imitations. You know, what we have done, the elite of this country have been, to systematically siphon out of the system our wards. We've taken our children out of the system that produced us. And we have looked on for this system to reach this state of decay.
Politics.
And then when the chickens
come home to roost, we are complaining.
And we have a political debate about it. There's nothing political about what we have now. I am delighted. I'm really happy that one of the first things President Mahama did was to hold an education summit. I hope that we will carry through and take a close look at what has happened to education, from free SHS to teacher training to selecting schools, all those things that have happened. We should dispassionately take a look at it, and the experts to do this are here in this country. Then we can together fix this system. But for me, teaching university students in this country, I knew this is the state of the. We knew, you know, and as I said.
What were your experiences at the university? The English was bad, or the expressions were?
It's critical thinking, you know, thinking on your feet, taking facts and deducing, all kinds of things, skills that one would expect that by the time you leave high school and come to the university, the skills that should be available to you, they just weren't there. And I don't want to sit here and do any blame game. We have all sat by for the system to get to where it is now. Let us just eat humble pie, all of us, and resolve to fix it.
Okay.
And it's fixable. I said the people to fix it are here with us. You know, teacher training colleges, you know, and coming to think of it, the CTAC strike, something should be done about it. You know, teacher training, the process has enough problems without adding to it. You know, so we should, those who need to act to get that problem solved should do so. But Roland, it is what it is. The results, that is what it is.
So we should accept it.
We should.
We shouldn't cry over spilled milk.
Yeah, and we deal with it.
Right.
It's fixable.
It looks like that's a consensus here. Yeah. Lawyer Austin Bracco Powers also joined the position. So thank you very much, Lawyer Austin, and Dr. Koba as well. And then Dr. Inusa, thank you. Lawyer Suhiyini, thank you as well.
Thank you.
And we also have to tell you that we're having the latest from the Asantehene Otumfuo. You know that he's leading that mediation team or committee as far as the Boku chieftaincy crisis is concerned. And so we have this coming from him, that he's rounded off his mediation effort in the Boku chieftaincy crisis with face-to-face meetings between the contending parties at the Minsha Palace, Jubilee Hall, Kumasi. Subsequently, in there were a number of the leaders of the traditional areas. And so we have Chief Tarana John Wuni Gruma, the paramount chief of Tarana traditional area, and spokesperson of the Nairi, also leading a 30-member delegation to represent His Majesty Na Mahami Abdullahi Sheriga, the Nairi and overlord of the Mampurugu and Mamprosis, while Naba Tapbes Balak, the paramount chief of Posega, also led the delegation representing the Boku Naba, Azuragu Asirigi Abuguragu Azoka II, and then the Kusasi people, as well as the Honorable Cletus Avoka, aced as spokesperson for the Kusasi delegation, with Dr. Isa as spokesperson for the Nayeri and the Mamprosis. Now, both delegations comprise of chiefs, lawyers, academicians, opinion leaders, and youth leaders as well. They spent several months listening to both parties, present their arguments in separate meetings. The Otumfuo had brought them together, both sides, directly to also have a final talk and effort to also explore a pathway to some lasting resolution of the current impasse, which, according to what we know, have persistently undermined the peace in the Boku traditional area. The meeting was held in a cordial atmosphere, according to the statement, with both sides emphasizing the fact that they are one people who have no reason to be at war with each other. And here's a catch. The Asantehene Otumfuo is thanking both sides for their civility and maturity so far exhibited. He's also urging the leaders to start preparing the minds of their supporters, as well as chieftains, kith and kin, to be prepared to put an end permanently to violence and disorder in their communities. And he also finally announces in this that His Majesty is submitting his formal report and proposals to the President of the Republic of Ghana
John Dramani Mahama, and he will do that in the next few days. And he's hoping the president will, based on receipt of the report, act quickly and convene a formal meeting of all the interested parties to announce the outcome for the mediation process that was undertaken so far. It's been signed by the Chief of Staff of the Minsha Palace, Kofi Bedu. You'll find more of this, 3news.com, TV3 Ghana, all relevant social media platforms, and so you can get this as well. Now, thank you, gentlemen, as well. So I have one or two others, so let me just, I know the time is fast spent, but, some of this, okay, all right. But let me also tell you that you can pep up your day the Milky Way with a rich, smooth taste of peck milk shortcake. It is pure delight, and this is what you need to do. Please take cognizance of the various flavors they have. They have the choco butter cookies, the butter cookie as well, the coconut cookies, all for peck. Just go to any confectionery shop or store, what we call provision shops, and you can find them there, or go to the supermarkets, you know, the large ones, so you find them there as well. Peck up your day. But you can also make the effort to look smart and fashionable by visiting any Woodin boutique nationwide, and you have to do that today because Woodin is offering an amazing collection of authentic African fabrics, all ready to wear, all coming in beautiful designs and colors for men and women. Now with Woodin, you get to be creative and versatile with your designs. You also get to show off how truly confident and truly African you are when you wear Woodin. So go to any Woodin boutique near you today. When you get there, get to choose from their variety of trendy products, all meant to complement your unique style. Go look out for them on social media and go search Woodin Fashion. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest sports headlines. Stay with us.